I feel like we just casted the game on Whirlwind. It's because we did. All right, starting in the top right position as our green Protoss went for the 7-gate. Somehow magically countered that crazy build that we saw out of our Zerg player. It is XMG's Monchi. Get those tunes rolling. Spawning in the bottom right position of Whirlwind. Our purple Zerg, the NA champion. It is Acer's Scarlett. So I have a strange feeling we're not going to see quite so crazy a play out of Scarlett. Typically, you know, known as a macro monster, and if Koss was any example of the macro discrepancy that Monchi seemed to have, he has these well-timed gateway builds. He really likes his gateway pressure. We saw that against Koss. We saw the 6-gate. We saw the 3-base 10-gate. Like, it was crazy against Terran. And while the first game he went against Scarlett, went for the 7-gate, and it worked. So I feel we might see some more gateway play out of Monchi. He really seems to favor that. Really seems to favor that charged out Archon style. I'm not so sure if he's going to do that against Scarlett though. At PvZ, it's a little bit more difficult to execute that. Might stick to the more tried and true if his early gateway attacks don't kill her. We'll have to see. Scarlett will be opening with a pool first at 15 supply. This is a pretty standard timing. You keep her safe against anything like cannons and all. I feel like it's funny because this is one of those maps where you can really easily get away with going for a hatch first. But, well, Monchi's open with a gateway, so it looks like he's going to go for a gateway expand. The one base Protoss on a map like Whirlwind is generally ill-advised simply because the distance. If your probe gets killed, you can't really warp units in at home and then try to push. All sorts of messy things happen. And there we go. He actually stopped mining his gas. He didn't mine any of it, actually. Yeah. Now he's going to move a probe onto it. But he's going to build the Nexus first, and I think that's a smart decision. Gateway expands give you options to shut down fast thirds. And once Scarlett scouts that Monchi's gone for this somewhat greedier style, she should get a gas. Typically, if you're going fast third against a gateway expanding Protoss is very, very risky because you can get hit with just really fast Zealot Stalker pressure, and all you'll have is a Queen really to deal with it because as a Zerg you want to drone up a reasonable amount. So I wouldn't be surprised if Scarlett decides to get a gas, go for some Zergling speed to either defend or maybe go for Roach Warren. But Scarlett not really reacting to this just yet. She's gonna go for the fast third, a little ballsy, which is always nice to see. Some risk taking. I feel. Of course, the map, as I said, is so big that in the time it takes to bring a couple zealots and a stalker over to Scarlett's base, she'll be able to make enough units to deal with this. So we have the double gas being taken for Scarlett. It's a little bit earlier than usual. Oh, maybe one of them was an extractor trick. There's only actually one here on the map, so that's interesting. I like this, though. It's a smart idea to take this gas. Typically, you wouldn't see Zerg players take a gas versus Protoss when you go for fast third until about 5:45. And, well, taking the 4-minute gas is a wise decision. It's going to give Scarlett that safety blanket that she needs to be able to hold off any kind of pressure and really deal with anything that could come her way. So Stalker's going to poke away, and Scarlett sees this coming now, but she has the gas going already. She's able to drone up quite a bit. That third base could be in a bit of danger. The Queen will not be able to reach that location to defend it, so she's going to be able to rely just on Zerglings. And she's starting that speed upgrade. She's actually going to take most of the drones off of mining that gas, but here comes the pressure from Monchi. He has that probe coming in. There's 2 more gateways being thrown down, so this could be a bit of 3-gate pressure, and the second Stalker is out now, so Monchi, he decides, looks like he's just going to pull back, though. He's going to start his robotics facility. I wasn't sure. It seemed like he might have been looking to go for some pressure, but because Scarlett saw it, maybe he said, okay, maybe I forced Scarlett to build some units. It's no big deal. And Scarlett laughs and says, ha, I continue to build drones, 7 more on the way. Your fake pressure will do nothing to me. Scarlett saw that the attack was coming, but she also saw it leave, so she can very comfortably just continue to drone up her bases. And use these couple Zerglings that she had from earlier to scout around if she so pleases. But now she's going to take that second gas around 6 minutes and 25 seconds. And that's just going to line up well with the earlier first gas. And the Roach Warren will start. We should also see a lair and an evolution chamber very soon. Going for slow Roach timings on a map like this is very, very difficult to execute properly because of the very large distance. And there we have that lair now starting for Scarlett. So she's getting ready to move into the mid game. There's the evolution chamber. She's actually going to go double evolution chamber. So this is a bit of an interesting play. Typically, you can go for this though. It's fine, I would say, against Protoss to go double evolution chamber. But typically we have to save the gas for either getting a faster infestation pit or more roaches. But we have pressure moving in now. The 3-gate pressure from Monchi. The roach warren's not done yet. Zergling speed's complete, but 16 lings are on the way. But this queen is in jeopardy. It's not going to be able to run away because there's no creep leading it, connecting it into the main base. She's just trying to run it around. The Zerglings are going to run by. The rally point is going to bring them away from the attacking units. First roach is on the way. But Scarlett caught a little bit off guard by this, and now she's supply blocked for overloads on the way. She's trying to recover this as quickly as she can. Her lair is not yet done. She can't produce any roaches. This is a scary push to have to deal with. There's quite a few forces here for Monchi. And here we have Scarlett pulling her drones away from the natural. There's only one roach to defend right now. She has 5 more on the way. These Zerglings are trying to shut down the proxy pylons to prevent reinforcements from being brought in, but this is still a really scary spot for Scarlett to be in. And Monchi behind this is going to transition into Immortals. He wants to be able to deal with a roach counterattack, or possibly just do a follow-up push to try to kill Scarlett. But Scarlett's been mining pretty well. She has a couple of drones at the third base. She hasn't really lost any drones, and that's what matters the most, because as long as you don't lose drones, then the more time you have, the more well-suited you are to being able to hold off this kind of aggression as a Zerg player. She can get her injections up, get that additional larva. She actually canceled the evolution chambers to be able to afford those Zerglings. I didn't notice that. That's a really... that's just kind of like that really high-level thought process that goes into this, where she says, you know what? Having these extra 2 drones mine and having these couple minerals back to get a couple extra Zerglings or roaches is going to possibly save me from losing this game. So Scarlett now positioning herself for a bit of a counterattack, has a good number of roaches that she was forced to build and Zerglings, but there's already 2 immortals out, a third immortal's on the way, and honestly, I think with these extra gateways being warped in, we're going to see Monchi try to just follow up with a really big 2-base timing with these 3 immortals and just try to smash through and kill Scarlett here. But this is going to be really scary, actually. Scarlett, she hasn't scouted this at all. She only has 1 Overlord on the field here, and it's not being made into an Overseer. It's not being run in to get information about the gateways, anything that's being built. So she can only know so much. She knows there's no third base, so he didn't take an expansion behind the pressure. And now she sees the big push coming. She could try to catch it in the center of the field. She does have roach speed, so she could try to go for a counterattack, but she needs to make sure she doesn't get caught by force fields. The Immortals are moving up here. 1 force field does pinch off a lot of these roaches. A couple of them will die. Scarlett needs to be very careful in executing this, but the most important thing is she's buying time for herself. We have more roaches on the way. We have spine crawlers on the way. +1/+1 on the way for these ranged units. And as long as the farther Scarlett can bring these units away from her base, the more time that she buys for herself to either go for a counterattack or build up enough forces to defend. And now she feels comfortable enough to defend her base. She's just going to run in and try to counterattack. The Zerglings begin to batter away at this pylon wall. The robotics facility is also in jeopardy. And this can be a really big supply block, actually, for Monchi. He has a warp prism, but won't be able to warp much in there. And now he's moving in towards the natural Scarlett. There's a couple of spine crawlers. There's 3 complete. There's 2 more building. This is such a huge push. The roaches are trying to get good surface area, but the Immortals are untouched in the back, just releasing a ton of damage. Scarlett's units entering the main base of Monchi, as well as the natural. The probes are forfeit. Scarlett just needs to get up enough spine crawlers to defend herself from this pressure, and if she holds this, she will win the game. She's completely ravaged the mineral lines of Monchi, going for that natural nexus. But these 3 Immortals still have mostly full shields. One of them actually starting to regenerate them now, and I feel like this is a very scary position to be in as Scarlett. She has a supply lead, but she needs to ball her units up together and get a good surround. There are no more force fields left, so she's just going to move in with the sentries, with the drones, try to just tank damage with the drones, have the roaches target down the Immortals. If she can get the Immortals, she should be able to just hold us off with just pure roach for the time being. One of the Immortals, very low in the red, will be able to kill it, but the other 2 have full shields. You know what, though? It just looks like Scarlett has managed to power through the majority of these forces of Monchi, and she's going to hold this push. Really nicely executed defense and decision to go for a counterattack. The robotics facility is dead. The natural expansion's dead. So many probes are dead. And Monchi just has this 1 base, and he is supply blocked into oblivion. There's the GG from Monchi. Acer Scarlett takes game number 2 in this best of 5 series.